The CAPS team is on the road today in Oregon, Wisconsin after a recent report of a large 8-foot-tall flying Sasquatch-like creature. What it was, we have no idea, but we are here on the road going up and down trying to find whatever was seen by the two witnesses the night of Thanksgiving 2020.
Wisconsin, y'all drove up here?
Yeah.
I thought y'all just...
Wisconsin.
Okay.
The CAPS team is on the road in search of the Mothman, a 7-foot-tall flying humanoid creature with glowing red eyes, most notably reported in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, but now may have taken a vacation to the areas surrounding Chicago and Lake Michigan. Oregon, Wisconsin. Two girls were out driving on Thanksgiving evening when a large creature flew across the road in front of their vehicle. It was illuminated by their headlights. The witnesses said they got a good look at it as it was less than half a football field away. They continued to drive around until curiosity got the best of them, and they returned to the spot where the sighting occurred. They saw the creature again, this time standing in a cornfield. One of the things that was reported in the news article is that the radio station in the vehicle changed stations while the creature was visible. So while we're out driving, we're going to test that by listening to a local radio station that right now comes in very clear.
Okay.
This is the intersection where we're supposed to be, or where they saw it twice. So they either saw it in that cornfield or this one. Standing. It'd be nice if this house behind us had security cameras. Or that one. Just sitting. You live there? Okay. Did you guys happen to see anything around Thanksgiving in this area?
No, we didn't.
Okay, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. I was wondering, like, if you live there, you don't have any kind of security cameras or anything, do you? Okay. Do you know if they do it all? Okay. Have you ever seen anything out in this area? Okay. Yeah, that's what we're here for, so we've just been driving around. CAPS wasn't the only ones who looked into this sighting. The report originally came in and was published by Tobias Wayland of the Singular Fortean Society, who also went out to investigate the area.
And yeah, out of nowhere, it was like there was this invisible field around that intersection, and you would drive into it And all of a sudden, you start hearing like this clicking and popping, like sound over everything. This is across multiple devices, so everything we had, it was interfering with somehow. And so you cross this invisible barrier, and you start hearing these weird like popping, like crackling sounds or whatever. And then we would drive, and you would cross the invisible barrier again outside of this field or whatever. This like weird radius, and all of a sudden it's gone, and things are recording normally, and the audio is fine. And then we turn around and we drive back into it, the interference starts again, and then we drive out of it and it's gone. And so when I noticed that the first time, obviously like my initial thought is, well, we have to go back, duh, but I was also like, well, I didn't see anything out there that could account for this, and so we went back probably 2 weeks later, and I'm looking for anything at all, like electrical transformers or ham radio like antennae or satellite dishes, anything at all that could account for this, and there's nothing that I could see anyway. And we went back then after we got home, and I watched the footage again, and the interference is back, but it's much quieter. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like, why would it be quieter this time? So we get further away from this event, and it's quieter. So that was weird. So now I need to go back again because things got busy, and we didn't go back a third time. But I'd be really interested to see if I go back again, if it's just gone.
Hey, wanna go look for Mothman?
We'll give you a sandwich.
See, okay, so this is Schroeder Park. So one of the last sightings had been here. This area. So right here, this bridge is going to be crossing over the Des Plaines River.
Okay.
And that's the little one that goes all the way up through that woods.
In a quarter mile, turn left.
It definitely gets dark and woodsy right here.
Oh yeah. There's even fucking horse trails.
I mean, this is definitely woods.
Yeah.
For being in the middle of Chicago, you have just this...
Big patch of woods.
I swear to God, I almost thought I saw somebody standing there.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're here to look for. But it looked like a... See? Look at them. They're going night hiking.
Oh yeah. So basically what we've got are all these reports from last year, 2020, and 2019 of all these sightings right around the main cargo area of the airport, and then just in the vicinity of the airport itself, up to and including these woods right around the river.
Yeah, I mean, for 2020, you have all this area. The most recent sightings were around Schroeder Park and the airport. And right next to that is this Schroeder Woods. And what else is there? Schroeder Woods, and that turns into... Can you read that? It gets smaller.
Catherine Cavalier Woods, or
Yep.
Chevalier.
And then this is up here, some wildlife area.
So
But
it's nice,
basically, yeah.
nice big patch of woods right in the middle of the city.
And it runs right along the whole airport.
Yep. And considering, think about how much fewer people there were out last year too, and we're still getting all these sightings. And they're not stupid people. Most of them are, airport employees.
If I was to make an educated guess, if it was picking a place to live, I would say the Cook County Forest Preserve right by the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. Reason being, it's like the central point of the greater Chicagoland area. I can get to Wisconsin in 45 minutes to an hour from there. I could get to Indiana in 45 minutes to an hour from there. why wouldn't you pick that spot? Plus, it's heavily wooded. There's areas that you can't walk there. Why not hang out in the spot that you're not going to have a lot of cameras on you? There's not going to be a lot of people. And if you're in a major metropolitan, Chicago's one of the biggest in the country, if I was to pick a spot to live in, I would pick the woods in a heartbeat.
Today we are on our way through Schiller Woods. We're going to do this, and we're going to do the Cook County wildlife area. And we've been given a couple tips that there might be high activity of strangeness in this area. So we're going to make our way through these woods and see what we can't scare up.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. If this thing is an animal, we know that it's active around like 10 o'clock at night. There's a lot of reports about 10 o'clock to about like 2 a.m.
Okay.
Look at this.
Flattened area,
Probably a deer
I would imagine.
bedded down there. But if this thing is nocturnal, right now it should be sleeping. It's too warm, too many people out, but it doesn't seem to be afraid of people, you know.
Like I said, Mothman, I automatically think nocturnal because of moth, for one.
Well, it's probably a predator. And most predators hunt at night because their prey is bedded down. It's cooler, it's easier, it's darker. They have night vision, it's easier for them to hunt. So, whatever it is probably sleeping now.
Most likely.
I don't picture this thing, I don't know, I don't picture it like laying down like a Sasquatch or something. I think that it sleeps up in trees.
Like upside down in trees or just...
Nah, just up in trees.
Okay.
That would be my expectation. But I don't really know, nobody really knows that much about it. I mean, even the people that do know stuff about Mothman, like,
Still
don't
question
know
its-
anything
Still
because...
question its existence, probably.
Well, no, but like Bigfoot, you can find nests, footprints, you know,
Stick
handprints.
structures.
Yeah,
And
Mothman. And what do you got? You got sightings.
Yeah, but nothing substantial to...
We don't know if this thing sleeps in trees.
Or
We have no biological niche for this thing.
unlike Bigfoot, where we got the biological stuff.
You got primate.
Yeah.
If you claim this thing to be a primate or a Neanderthal, even, you have a frame of reference for it. But this thing is a bipedal flying creature.
Yeah, because
There's nothing like that.
and it can sit on its own two legs and walk or take off from a standing position, possibly,
I've heard that it runs.
and then takes off.
No, I just heard it like flaps and then takes off. Really silent. But I've heard reports of it running towards people.
All right.
It's nice that we're kind of back here by ourselves. Nothing else is back here bothering it.
If it's back here or on the main trail, we don't know yet.
But it doesn't seem to be shy.
No.
Like everyone that has seen it, like even at the airport, it just stands there when an entire bus of people drove past it.
And
It was perched on a railing there too.
And it didn't do anything either. It just stood there and watched people.
Yep. Made eye contact with the guy.
And probably just was wondering who we are, and then we're wondering what it is. You know?
I wonder if it's possible that only certain people see it. You know?
Yeah.
But then you got the case of Bob, who, you know, he said three people all saw it. If Mothman is a natural creature, these woods are the perfect habitat for them to live. Not only are there deep woods, marsh, and swamp, but there's also a small river that flows right down the center. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know what we're looking for in here. You know, we don't have footprints to look for per se. We don't have stick structures. We don't we don't know where this thing is going, so it's like really hard to look around in here because
we don't know where the sound. We don't know if there's a sound that's gonna be associated with it. That's gonna be here or there or over there.
Yeah, even at night, like to do like a stakeout or something somewhere in here and listen. I mean, you have traffic in here. You have the airplanes going over.
So that might drown out a lot.
Trying
of
to listen for something just to, like, I thought we could leave an audio recorder at the other end, come back tonight and get it, but there's so much traffic and air, it's just gonna be garbage.
And it will drown out the sounds.
Yeah.
The airplane's flying overhead.
Yeah. So
I agree with that.
So what do you think our next move is?
Find a better vantage point where there's not that much noise contamination, maybe?
Where's that?
Good question.
Tonight, myself and Derek are down in Chicago, Illinois, overlooking the O'Hare Airport. There have been numerous sightings of the Mothman in and around the O'Hare Airport location. So tonight, we've set up ourselves in a hotel on the highest floor overlooking the O'Hare Airport. Our view of the airport and the planes that are coming in is spectacular. Take a look. We have 3 cameras here set up that will be recording while we're out investigating on the ground tonight. So we have 3 different ways that we're going to be monitoring. We have a night vision, a hand cam, and also a GoPro. Now some of these aren't going to very well take video after it gets dark, but we'll still be able to see if any UFOs or any other things randomly appear over the sky of O'Hare. With our eyes on the sky over O'Hare Airport, we set off for downtown Chicago to take a look at one of the most recent locations the Mothman was sighted. Mm-hmm. 11:23 p.m. We got ourselves hooked up with some local transportation so we could cover more ground faster, and we headed out to check out the most recent sighting location, the Riverwalk behind Shedd's Aquarium. Like a good investigator, I had emailed Shedd's Aquarium to ask if it was possible that they had any security cameras that may have captured the sighting behind their building, but I got no response. We're right here behind Shedd's Aquarium in Chicago. And just 3 weeks ago from the day that we're here was the last report of a Mothman in this area. A girl was coming along this trail where I'm standing right now and saw the creature, she says, standing on the railing. The creature spread its wings and started flapping to take off. And she heard 2 people scream that were coming around the other side of this corner. So they all saw it from both angles, and it took off, and they said it went right over there to Navy Pier, which is that stretch of lights right there behind me. When I first got back here, before you got here, there was something like rustling around over there, but I'm not sure if it was over there or there was like a couple people like down on the other trail. So it could have been down there, but I didn't see any Mothman take off and fly away, so.
I'm just trying to see if you could confuse something with red eyes, you know?
Yeah, no crap.
Well, some of those ones have the red lights, which could confuse them.
Right, but not this close. I mean, what I'm picturing is this thing just, you know, standing right on that railing, you know?
Well, look how this railing's all straight and all of a sudden that one's just...
I know, I see that. I don't think that really has anything to do with it, but yeah, makes you wonder.
Someone's back behind me.
It's over there, but yeah. Excuse me, have you seen the Mothman? Next question. If you saw the Mothman, would you eat the Mothman?
Jesus.
Would you get all your friends to gather around and eat the Mothman? Alright, I'm done. It seemed like the spider wanted to keep his secrets. Maybe he was covering for someone. Although I didn't catch it on camera, and I have no idea what it was that I saw, I will leave this here. While walking downtown with my eyes trained to the sky, I saw something that looked like a man wearing a cape jump from one rooftop to another. If I had to say, it would have looked more like Batman. But since this isn't Gotham City, and I only saw it for a split second, I don't know what I saw. Derek!
Huh.
See the little, it might be a door. The black shape way up there?
Yeah.
It looks like a door like in the roof line.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah. We are on our way into the Cook County Forest Preserve in Chicago, and this is the area of high strangeness that we were told has all kinds of weird activity. All kinds of weird energy and all kinds of high strangeness. So again, we are taking, he has his K2 with him and I have my Eddie, and we're going to be taking some readings throughout this whole thing and documenting all of the EMF fields and stuff and seeing if there's any kind of ley lines or other kinds of electrical interference or anything. We did notice on the...
I went like that and just spiked for a second and it stopped.
We did notice on the map that there is like a cell phone tower or something, I believe at the far end of this section of woods before we get to the road. And so we just want to go check that out too and see if maybe that's causing some of the weird feelings or anything that are in here. So, all right, here we go, guys.
I thought that airplane's going overhead. I thought we'd get something from them over the head, you know?
That's possible too.
Well, if that was the case, why didn't you do that earlier? Causing it to spike, the plane going overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this now, I don't think airplanes cause EMF detectors to spike.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that would to begin with, but you don't want to rule it out until you test it and stuff too. So.
You really can't find a way to play the squid and see if we actually entice it. You know?
The only reason that would entice it is if it was a species and not an entity.
I'm just saying.
You know, like a Bigfoot. If there's only one, it's not going to come when you call it because it doesn't care.
Yeah, when we did it at Burlington, it came to you.
Right, but not the Mothman. You said we should play the Scream of the Mothman. One, we don't have it. Two, you're presuming, like I said, that it's a species and the call is going to entice it to come. Whereas if it's not a species, if it's a single paranormal entity or something, why would it come if you called?
Why would Bigfoot call when you called it?
Mating? Territorial?
Not thinking me, probably too.
Right, if it's a species.
That's what we don't know.
We do not know.
The only thing we're going on, it could be just a humanoid thing. I don't know if it's
I feel like Mothman's got to be more
legend,
paranormal than,
cryptid.
yeah. Like we talked about, you know, it's just, there's no biological.
The one thing we know is that it did the static on Bob's radio.
A Bigfoot,
will not do that.
Bigfoot's done that though too. Interfered, and you've gotten that. I have heard some reports, but there's a lot of weird paranormal stuff that's associated with Bigfoot too. We're assuming then that this static of the radio is a paranormal trait. What if it isn't? What if it's a biological trait that these things can disrupt those frequencies?
Well, why would it be why would it be biological though?
We should see if infrasound fucks with radio equipment.
What do you mean by infrasound?
Infrasound is what Bigfoots use, supposedly. Tigers, elephants. If that would interfere with it on a radio level. Now it's getting a little thicker back in here. You can't see as far.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool tree.
I'm just trying to get a feel for the woods real quick without using my meter and see if make sure my eyes don't play tricks on me, you know? That's one thing that they take into account too. Is sometimes people's eyes play trick on them.
Oh yeah.
That goes along with paranormal activity as well.
Yep.
Like they think they see something, but usually they can attribute it to they're either playing tricks on them or just sleep deprived, where it will play psychosis into it, you know?
Yep.
That's why I'm trying to keep my eyes open. I'm trying not to check my eyes.
And in the fading light, your eyes are going to play more and more tricks on you.
Mm-hmm. Like if I saw something like that with that tree area from back there, I could have thought that was a Bigfoot, but I didn't want to.
Correct.
That assumption.
But that tree also isn't flying or moving, you know?
True.
I could understand the people that are seeing it in the woods standing, but we don't have a lot of the reports of that.
No, we just have it either in motion or perched on something.
And then flying away.
Yeah. That's what I mean by in motion, whether it's like going this way or coming in and perching itself and then picking up, or just the other way around.
And look at this, it's starting to get really thick in here. You know? Now we're starting to get into where you could have something hiding in there.
Oh, what though? Do you find where the...
If we had reason to believe that Mothman was in here, we could bring a radio,
and
like a little battery-operated radio,
like
and walk around.
Like test the theory, see if there's any
See if
static
it goes
here.
to static, yeah. But again, there's no hard evidence to say that it is in these woods, you know.
But
It's my belief, but...
There's also the other side of things where you might think it's not in these woods, but it could be somewhere deeper.
Yep, definitely.
Or something closer. We don't know. Let's just see it for ourselves, and then we can judge the distance then.
Despite all of our efforts, we were unable to come up with any visual or audio evidence of the Mothman in Chicago. Although we did see a lot of interesting things. So, in an effort to cover all of our bases, maybe we should check out another location where the Mothman has been seen. The TNT area of Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
You know, other people just get out and go for a walk.
Other people don't find Mothman.
I think they do.
The former West Virginia Ordnance Works is a location that locals have dubbed the TNT Area. It is now an overgrown wildlife preserve located in Mason County, about 7 miles north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It is also known as the McClintock Wildlife Management Area. The 3,655 acres of wildlife management is occupied by 600 acres of farmland, 180 acres of wetland encompassing 31 ponds, 1,100 acres of brushland, and 1,775 acres of mixed hardwood forest. Part of the area was used as a place to manufacture and store ammunition during World War II. About 100 large concrete domes, often called igloos or bunkers, were built into the ground to house explosives. These were designed to not be noticed from the air.
What is that? Yeah.
What is it about leaving cans for Mothman? You bring him beans? You bring Mothman beans? By spiders. Many of the Mothman sightings took place in or around the TNT area, leading people to think of it as Mothman's home or hideout. The abandoned North Power Plant building was the location of several Mothman reports, including the initial Scarberry and Mollett sighting, which was first to make local news in November of 1966. All we found was some Mothman graffiti for our troubles, so it's time to move on to the site of one of the most controversial sightings to date. As of creating this episode, the most recent string of sightings was again reported at the Chicago O'Hare Airport, the first of which was reported to the UFO Clearinghouse on July 22nd, 2021 at 10:30 p.m. The report reads, "I was walking to my car with two of my friends after getting off work. We were talking about the day and how good it felt to get home. As we approached our car, I saw something moving across the street, but on the other side of the fence. It was dark, and you could easily see the entire area was lit up. There was a plane that had just been brought up near the fence for unloading, and a lot of activity around the plane. As we walked, I pointed out to my friends, and they saw the same thing. About this time, a white SUV came driving up with its emergency flashers on and came to a halt on the road on the other side of the fence. Two men jumped out and shone some flashlights on this person, prompting the person to turn around and stare at them. It looked to be about 6 to 7 feet tall and was dark gray in color, almost black, and what looked like two large, glowing red eyes. But they could have been from the flashlight being shown in that direction. About 10 seconds after the first vehicle arrived, another came up on the same side of the fence as this person and illuminated the person with its headlights. I remember hearing my friend say, 'Lord have mercy,' as we watched the scene unfold in front of us. It was at about this time that the person opened up what looked like a pair of giant bat wings and flew up into the air. As it flew up and over the people that were now gathered around it, it let out a screech that sounded like train brakes or the brakes from a large truck. It flew around in a circle twice, screeching, and then flew off over the fence and towards the runways and terminals in the distance. As we watched, a white pickup truck with TSA, Transportation Security Administration emblem came up towards us with its emergency lights on and told us and the others who were gathered in the parking lot to clear out and get in our cars and leave the area immediately. We did as we were told. As we drove off out of the parking lot, we saw another 3 marked vehicles and just as many unmarked vehicles pulled onto the street and parking lot, all with their lights on. I took my friends home and we talked extensively about it. One of my friends who worked later shift at United told me that the airport security, TSA, were in the area and asking people who stepped outside to please go back in for their safety, and were out there for at least an hour to an hour and a half. The UFO Clearinghouse received another report from the same area of the Chicago O'Hare Airport, this time December 30th, 2021, around 11:30 p.m. The witness and 2 of his fellow employees saw 3 black, red-eyed, winged creatures while working near a hangar. Although the man claimed that another employee recorded the event, he said that airport officials required them to delete the video. The report goes as follows. I was working this weekend on Tuesday, 12/30/2001, at the American Airlines aircraft hangar at about 11:30 at night. I was outside with about 3 other individuals. We were in the process of bringing in a 777-200 into the hangar to get some maintenance done on the engines. As we were hooking up the plane to move it, I looked up and saw 3 large black creatures over by the parking lot. They were about 7 feet tall each, and they were just staring right at us. I yelled out to Carlos, and he and Robert and all 3 of us were looking straight at these things, when one of them opens what looked like large black wings and shoots off into the sky, followed by the others. All 3 making a sort of screeching sound as they take off. A few seconds later, a security vehicle comes screaming up the driveway and stops. The security officer, shortly joined by 3 other trucks and a couple other supervisors that I recognized from the staff meeting. I looked over at Robert, who was doing the same thing I was doing and recording on his phone. I know that both of us had gotten a glimpse of these creatures right as they took off. One of the supervisors came up to us and told us to stop recording and put our phones away, or she would report us to our supervisors. The area where these things were has to have at least 4 different cameras. At least 2 are in plain sight for all of us to see. After about an hour, we were approached by the same supervisor, our immediate supervisor, and 3 other men, and told to go into a break room and remain there and not talk to anyone. They came in after 10 minutes, and they said that we were not to talk to anyone regarding what we saw, and they were requiring us to send them the videos that we had shot on our phones and then delete them off of our phones, or else we would be immediately terminated. We demanded to see our union steward first. We were told that this was a matter of internal security, and this would supersede the authority of the union. We attempted to argue, and were told in a raised voice that we would not be allowed to leave without the deletion of the videos on our phone. I did not want to lose my job after 8 years, especially when the benefits and pay were really good, so I sent the videos to my supervisor's phone, and in front of her and the others deleted the video. We were told that we were to keep this to ourselves, and we were not allowed to speak to anyone or we would lose our jobs. The witness goes on to say that these people aren't playing around. They have checked in on us at least twice, and has also heard from others who have seen the same thing, that they were told to stay quiet or risk losing their jobs. So many people have been threatened with being fired if they told their story. What you hear reported is just a small piece of these things. It seems, if we are to believe that these reports are factual and accurate, that someone does in fact know of the Mothman in Chicago, and is purposely keeping it quiet. Could all of these reports simply be a hoax, an attempt to sell books with fake witnesses? Or is there something far more sinister going on around Chicago? As the sighting reports continue to pop up, and more people come forward, you can be assured that the CAPS team will stay on top of this. But with security so tight on the heels of this alleged creature, we may have to change some tactics. So until then, it's time to hit the road and roll on to our next adventure.